6:06 p.m. on October 7th. Holy cow. Any adjustments or changes to the agenda? We're going to shift the order. That will be the only, just so we can get through business that we need to do. Roll call. Kathy. Just state your representing community.
Kathy Ainsworth, Fairfield.
Ron.
Yeah, Ron Bocash, Fairfield.
Jake.
Jake from Sheldon.
Amber.
Amber from Georgia.
Heather.
Heather from Bakersfield.
Emily.
Sorry, Emily Grims from Berkshire.
Stu.
Sue and Maya from Alberg. She is taking notes now. Let you know.
Ken.
Ken from Alberg, and there's a member of the public with me, Elliot, who is from Alberg too.
Lost order. Everett.
Everett McGinley from Montgomery.
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay Raymond, Fairfax.
JR.
JR Cox, Alberg Village.
Mary Catherine.
Mary Catherine, Ilamont.
I am Sean Kyo, Enosburg and Village of Enosburg Falls. Emily.
Emily Clough with Northwest Regional Planning.
And Sean.
Sean Coleman, Regional Planning.
All right, let's go to approval of minutes from.
There are two sets, one from the September meeting and one from Monday.
Yep. Any questions or changes to the minutes?
Just a point of order that I wasn't in attendance at the last meeting. Would you prefer that I not vote for this?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second it.
All those in favor signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Kathy.
I abstain.
Yeah, I abstain as well.
I abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And treasurer's report. Emily.
Yep, just pulling that up now. Sorry, my whole computer crashed on me. Here we are. So this is the treasurer's report from August 6th to October 7th. I will note we haven't received the September balance from the People's Trust bank account yet. So I believe that when we receive the balance, it will also reflect the 50% of the H315 grant funds, but I didn't have confirmation of that. So I did it without it. So this is as of 8/31, there was 44,425.10. Disbursements since the last meeting were the NRBC administrative expenses and direct expenses approved, and leading to a total ending balance of 39,552.29. Again, not including the H315 funds, which I believe may be there, but I don't have confirmation. In terms of bills to present, there is the two insurance bills. So one for cyber insurance and officers and board member liability insurance for $3,451, as well as general liability and umbrella insurance for $1,527 for September of 2021 to September of 2022. And there's also a $12.49 bill from Google Workspace for our email. So bringing that to total invoices to be approved at $4,990.49. I didn't break it out by grant because I didn't have the time to go back and I wanted to clean some stuff up. And I didn't want to give you numbers that I wasn't sure of.
I assume we need a motion to accept the bills to present.
Yes.
Or to process those.
Process those, yes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Everett, seconded by Jake. Any further discussion? All those in favor of allowing Emily to process these payments, signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstains? Cool. Thank you. Okay, VCBB Vacuda updates. I don't think Vacuda's had a meeting since we met last. I don't believe so.
No, they canceled their meeting, I believe.
Canceled, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
VCBB, for those who are unaware, the VCBB, for the new members, Vacuda is the Vermont Communications Union District Association, as the association of all the communications unions. We have generally I attend, sometimes Mary Kay, Emily also attends on our behalf. If you're interested, let me know. We do need to let them know who our representatives attending those meetings are, for instances when we need to vote on something. They host them on Mondays at like 10 a.m. I believe is now when they're doing them.
Yep,
So they're super convenient for everybody.
really.
But that is when they are. We attend regularly, and they are looking into a number of issues. They were somewhat instrumental. The group was instrumental in helping get some of the broadband legislation passed, H315 and H360, or H360, yeah, getting those passed. So interesting group. If you're curious, let us know, and you're welcome to attend as well. VCBB is the Vermont Community Broadband Board. It is the new branch of government, I guess, or not department, I guess is the more appropriate term. It somewhat assumed the telecommunications responsibilities from the Public Service Department. It is being led by Christine Holquist. It is a staff of 2 at this point, so they're quickly trying to ramp up. So when you hear those acronyms, that's what those mean. The VCBB also is the gatekeeper to our money. So the grant that we're going to discuss here shortly is going to be reviewed by the VCBB board. They have reviewed one grant submission last week. So we got a little bit of idea what that process is like. And they're also going to be laying out kind of policies and things for us to be aware of moving forward. So anything else to add on that? Anybody? Okay. H360. Emily, you want to pull it up and we can review
Yes,
it and
let me get
answer
the
any
draft
questions you
up
need.
quickly
On this,
here.
we will need at the end, we will need a motion from the board to allow us to submit, ideally by tomorrow, so we can get it in time for review on the, I think it's the 18th. Is that correct?
Yes, and this needs to get it reviewed for the 18th. It needs to be delivered tomorrow morning at the latest. So I'll scroll down here to the general work plan and budget, which are at the bottom. So under the activities and budget, the primary things being included are 15 months. So from January, we're funded through the end of December on executive director salary and benefits. So that will be funded from January and through March of 2023. Operation startup expenses, which include just a number of things that we're going to need: software packages, technology, travel costs, basically all of those sort of administrative costs to actually have employees and have all of that. Administrative services, 10 hours a week, either at $65 an hour, either NRPC, or if the CUD were to go on their own and contract out for that for 15 months. Legal services at 20 hours a month for that 15-month period as well. $10,000 for the CUD will need to complete an audit at the end of the next fiscal year, and about $310,000 for poll studies and associated make-ready work in conjunction with the business plan. Those are the overall categories, and the idea of this is to go through from when we received the grant to about March 2023.
How did you guys come up with, Sean, the 310?
We used two estimates, or we didn't just throw the number together.
Obviously.
Matrix Designs, who did our feasibility, provided kind of an estimate of that type of scope of work, as well as there was some analysis done on a part of the CUDA for all of the districts really early on when they were looking at doing kind of a statewide project. So we kind of took the median of those two estimates, and that's where we came to 310.
Okay.
One we felt was low, one we felt was a little high, and we went right down the middle.
Right. We got terrain. We have terrain challenges in some areas, so that's where the cost will come in for the make ready.
Yeah. So back a little more information on specifically the H360's grant. So how they there's 30 million in pre-construction funding for all of the CUDs. So we are very clearly in a pre-construction phase. So we're not constructing anything yet. We're trying to get there. 30 million, that's being divvied up by an algorithm to determine how much of that 30 million is going to go to each district. Our district is earmarked for, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's a little over 3.5 million. And so the VCBB holds the keys to that, and we can make requests on that 3.5 as we need. This is our first request to that fund.
Got it.
So we can go back. So come January or whenever we need, if we need to onboard more staff, if we need to continue on with another project, get into our design phase of things, we can simply reapply to that H360 bucket for us to acquire more funds.
I was thinking software. That's what my number one hit was.
Mm-hmm. Questions?
Yes. Is there going to be, I don't know how to say this bluntly, and I don't know how to say it not bluntly, so I'll say it. Are we going to need political power to get the most we need, or is it going to be some kind of a percentage-wise, or how does that play out for this process?
I mean, as far as us being allocated to 3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, they based it off of under and unserved need, road mileage. There was a number of things that went into their equation of how they factored it, but it wasn't, you know, we needed to kind of play the game in order to get a little bit more. It was a pretty straightforward equation to kind of break out that 30 million in total fund.
Okay, that's good to know. Cool. Thank you.
Question: what if we take on additional markets in the area? Will we get their funds? I mean, is there allocated funds to areas that may not be Accounta?
That would potentially alter. Can anyone recall? They had that deadline. I think that my deadline might have.
Yes, I think that the
is that 315 or 360?
I believe that it's with 360 as well. The board decided to as a point in time count because they were thinking that it would be very challenging to accommodate for the ever changing district boundaries, because it's a fixed pot of money. So if a district grew, you'd be taking money away from another district that was already expecting that. So I believe what they decided to do was do it as a fixed point in time.
I believe it's July 1st. They put a date that community.
Yeah, there was a date. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Just trying to find loopholes. Thank you.
I just have a question. You guys, I probably already missed it in a previous meeting, but so the payroll for the director's position, that's only good until 2015. I'd be a little nervous. I'd like to give the director at least some assurance that we've got a good 5-6 years. Did I miss something, or is this really only funded truly through 2023?
Yeah, so the board, the VCBB board was very specific in their RFP that they only wanted to fund expenses in the next 18 months. So that's at hitting the end of that 18-month timeline in March 2023.
So what kind of insurance can we give the director that he or she will have and maybe I missed if if the person's accepted or not. I'm sorry if I'm out of line. I wasn't here on Monday. I'm actually in North Carolina on vacation after my daughter's wedding, so I'm a
lovely.
little slow.
Yeah, I don't think
Fine.
we have any 100% guarantee that we can provide. We can understand that there are the additional grant funds coming in. Ideally, by 2023, there will be, the CUD will be
Income.
so there'll be operating income. Yeah.
Okay, I just was nervous for our new incoming director that I couldn't guarantee them a steady salary.
My understanding of this for administrative and operational costs is that this is to serve as kind of a bridge to get them into the construction phase. The likely administrative costs will likely additionally be covered under the grants within the construction phase. And then, at that point, then you're into operating. So there's likely to be a kind of a lineup of funding opportunities. But I mean, it's likely going to be able to completely fund any position grant wise. Most everything is going to be kind of short term.
Right.
To some extent.
Exactly. But the more funding in our then converting into operational expenses as we come in down through, Heather, is what you have to rely on. And there's always a risk, right? For sure. But with what we see coming down the pipe.
Okay. Any other questions? Emily, let's scroll down and go over just to look at some of the So the board was hitting real heavy on Act 71 considerations. So quite a few of us spent a good amount of time reviewing some of these items. Are we collaborating, discussing with other CUDs? Are we in discussions with some of the utilities and what we're doing? You can keep going. What are we doing with the other utilities? Have we spoken with incumbent providers and kind of where are we at with them? Other entities, other groups that we've worked with, what's our take on resiliency and redundancy, our policies on overbuilding versus prioritizing the under and unserved addresses. There's also a big heavy piece on sustainability, affordability, as well as universal service, which we reviewed again today to make sure we nailed. That was a big piece that was hit really heavy on Maple Broadband's submission last week. There was a lot of questions regarding their take on universal service, and we listened very heavily to the board's feedback and kind of incorporated some of their concerns into our response here. So this is a long work in progress, but I feel pretty comfortable with where we're at this point. Any other questions, concerns?
Just what do you think is what do you think the weaker point of this application is? Just
that we don't have a business plan.
Yes. Okay.
That's on the agenda tonight to discuss our consultant. We are when looking at the timelines of the other CUDs and where we're at, we're maybe a quarter to 2 quarters behind where the others are. Somewhat, there's some reasons we hit some hurdles along the way or some roadblocks along the way. Our feasibility took longer than expected. We're also the newest of all the CUDs. So, we have some catching up to do, certainly. There are specific questions in here regarding business plans. In talking to the administrators at BCBB, they don't seem to think that that's going to be too much of an issue, but certainly at least looking at this, there were some specific questions that we couldn't answer because we don't have those answers yet.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Show me the money, H360. That's all I got to say about that.
Hallelujah on that.
If there's nothing else, I need to hear a motion to approve the submission of our H360 grant application.
I'll abstain since I've signed it.
I just woke up and I'm wondering, and maybe there's a line in this in the budget, and if not, you can all decide if it's worth having, but just to have a line that's contingency.
We have it.
We have it. Okay, I'll shut up. Thank you.
Hear a motion?
I move that we submit the H360 grant.
I'll second.
that.
Motion made by Kathy, seconded by Everett. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any further,
Aye.
or all those opposed, say nay. Any abstains?
I am, because I signed it.
Approved. Okay, great. Good news. We can get that in, and I think we will be with a whole bunch of other ones getting reviewed on the 18th. So great. Next up, we have broadband business plan consultant selection, which I believe we probably should do an executive. Is that
Yeah. Motion to go in an executive session.
Yeah, it's personnel matters, definitely.
Yep.
You would need to,
Yeah, go ahead, Emily.
yeah, you'll need to, because this is in relation to a contract, you'll need to first, and Sean, correct me if I've got the language wrong, but find that you would be put at,
Yep, I have the language.
okay, you have the language, yes.
Yep.
Just maybe.
And you need to invite Emily and
Yep.
I in if Emily's dog is attacking somebody in the background, I think.
I don't know.
You
there's
need to
alarm-
invite us into the meeting as well.
I got a headache.
All right, we just exited executive session where we discussed our intentions to make a selection for our business plan consultant. And I believe we have a motion to be made.
Oh. Sorry, I'm writing notes. Just a second. How did we want to do? Motion. We're going to motion to do an RFP if the process is necessary in order to reach out to get our business plan enacted and moving forward in a timely fashion. Did I hit everything?
Are we gonna do an RFQ or an RFP? I thought we were gonna do an RFQ with a quick
RFQ.
turnaround.
Oh, I said P. I'm sorry. RFQ. I meant RFQ. I literally wrote RFQ.
We're doing 7-day turnaround. Does that sound
I
ridiculous?
would prefer 7 business days is fair. You give them 2 extra on the week.
Yep.
7 business days.
I will second that motion.
Motion made by Mary Kay, seconded by Jake. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. All right, where are we at?
DBA.
DBA. So looking around the state and just elsewhere, I mean, this we don't have to make a decision this evening, just putting it out there for people to start thinking about it. Our current title is Northwest Communications Union District. Others have opted. Lamoille, they have a DBA. Lamoille FiberNet. There's EC Fiber, MC Fiber. Not MC Fiber. There is an MC Fiber. But, what's the others? Maple Broadband. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones. I threw this out as just a discussion item that we should consider adopting a DBA just for brevity and to also to have a more solidified brand identity as we get into stages. It's a mouthful to say our full name now, but if we can come up with something, an idea, great. But thoughts, ideas, we can put this out. We can kind of workshop it. By no means do we need to make a decision this evening, but probably something we might want to look at over the coming months.
Due to the fact that I'm going to be in meetings a lot, I might have thought about this a little bit after we had our discussion. You need something that's catchy. You need something that's going to pop when they're searching for it, like the word fiber. So when you do NW Fiber, Northwest Fiber, you know, you have NW Fiber, it has a ring to it. You don't want to make it too long, but you want to identify yourself. We can't be VT Fiber because we're not all inclusive. And you don't want to be Northwest because that's way too long. But NW Fiber, you know, it really can chime in, and it kind of claims where we are. We're not going to be just a regular plain old county. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm already planning on going outside of the counties. So there's no way that that would make sense for us if we were like Franklin Fiber, because we're going to be more than Franklin Fiber. So that's just me throwing out my suggestions, but we want to have something that identifies us, but we really want to have fiber in there for a lot of reasons.
It sounds like a
Damn
job for
fiber in the
communications
islands.
subcommittee.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, Everett. Ken, you feel like this is something that, you know, I know we threw out some quick ideas, but it's something that we could possibly workshop together and try to find a way to loop in the greater board for input as well?
Yeah, I think it's not a heavy lift to come up with a bunch of names.
Yep.
And then just shortlist and have a quick vote on it. The only other thing that if we want to be different, something that could be cool is whatever the geographic type part of the name is to make that come second. In other words, we could go like Fiber NW or Fiber Northwest, and that'd be a little different. And it's also using fiber as like an action as well as a noun.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Fiber. Just have fiber in the name, and I'm with you.
Wait.
And
I
one
got a
of
better
the
one.
unique
B-
qualities
B-
of this is that we have an open access business model. Is that what we're, so it
Absolutely.
might be worth having that value somewhere prominent in the name.
It's too long.
Yeah, we could.
It's a
too
long
long,
name.
but
I agree. Yeah.
Mary Kay,
I
I
thought
got
of
your
it.
answer. I got your
Bring
answer,
it.
Mary Kay.
Well, the other issue with while we're just to go back
BVFII.
on
Best
the
damn
subject
fiber in the islands. Sorry, Everett, go ahead.
Poor Ken.
on the subject of mentioning open access, while it is like a major attribute of ours, we may learn through the plan that open access, even though we all want that unicorn and rainbow solution, it just may not be feasible.
We may
It's also not going to
get
mean
people.
anything.
We may not
It's not
get
going to mean
people.
anything. It's
Right.
not going to mean anything.
So
Make
what?
it short and snappy.
Short and
Something-
snappy is good because of branding, right? And that's what a DBA is all
Exactly.
about. But
Exactly.
the open fiber part, like what he's talking about, is it's a possibility that we are open fiber and we get one provider and the others aren't interested. So
Yeah,
even though we try to be open, it may not work out.
Yeah, I was just going
That
to
would
cover
be
that.
open and shut fiber.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about?
Speaking of open and shut, I have to exit the Fairfax Library in 5 minutes. So I will be coming to you live from the parking lot. I had some materials for you to review. I sent it all to Emily to go over.
Yes,
For later in the
yes,
meeting.
and I would ask that we review that. That's the MOU after the board election, be what makes most sense.
Does anyone, before we get, does anyone have any questions specifically about what we mean by open access? No? Okay,
I do. Sorry, I was slow.
got it. So
if I'm the only one that, Sean, if I'm the only one that doesn't know, I'm happy to talk to you on the phone some other time and not. hold
No,
you
it's
to that.
completely fine. It's worth us covering because it's something that we're kind of crafting the language to kind of educate the general public as well. So the reason we chose, or what we want to choose, is an open access model versus a single provider model, which is what most of Vermont is built on, is single provider models. All of Vermont is built on it. Is allowing multiple providers to provide services to the end user, rather than just one provider. There's a lot of good reasons for that. It certainly will be a challenge up front to get providers to do that, but it provides competition. It tends to lower rates. They have to compete for the customer versus just having one provider. We kind of see the reason we see that is we kind of see models, most locally is in Burlington, where just strictly because Burlington Telecom exists, Comcast has to lower their rates. They have to provide better service in Burlington than they do anywhere else in the state, simply because there's competition. And if we're able to do that same competition over our network, that's why we want to go open access. So that's what it means when we say open access.
And there's one other part of that too. There's one other part of that too. We might find, let's say we have 3 people providing, 3 groups. One of them may not want to do the last quarter mile. That's just not the way they do things. The other one is like, yeah, I'll do the quarter mile. That's our business plan. So it opens up opportunities besides competition. It's like,
yeah,
put more in the mix. We'll get a better mix.
Yep.
This is not a new idea. If you're over in Europe and stuff, you'll find people like they ask you who your provider is so that they know who to set you up when you move to your new flat. So, you know, they may be behind the times people say in other ways, but other times they're way ahead of us. And so this is an excellent opportunity, like you said, for competition, for networking. Another point Stu brings up, those gaps between the networks. So from one to the next, we're in the mix of all of them. So that allows us opportunities to work with other providers to get that section served that we may not be able to serve with the other carrier. So it's a lot of work on the broadband operations manager who will be here down the road. That's a lot of maintenance, but you do it because your job is to serve the customer, the public sector. This is where we're different than the private sector that is looking to take it over and make money on you. We're looking to choose the customer. So that's where we want to stay focused on that as much as possible. And even when we onboard different providers or we end up with one provider, that one provider is going to have, if that happens, would have to have a lot of promises. You know what I mean? We want to be able to provide that. So that's a big part of open access is, and also Sean and I, just because some of you guys are new, we come from telecom, obviously, as you can probably guess, and doing so, we've been when the private companies have what's called ETC regulatory funds so that we could build cell sites in area for people that had no coverage up in the middle of nowhere. And I'll tell you what, it's very frustrating when you're a kid who was all pumped about it, right? Because I was in my early 20s, late 30s when that first started. And when that was rolling out, I was pumped about it. And then all of a sudden you get all the halts and stops and stuff. Why? Oh, they come up with reasons why, because it's really not feasible for them to do it with the money that they're given to put it out there. They don't see a turnaround in a turn time. Things got to get held up. Things get held. And what did that mean? That money that was from the government sat there in the private sector doing nothing. So that's a big reason for me why just so you guys know why I'm a big fan of the CUDs and doing this and putting well, some of you don't know, I leave for Colorado to go to outside plant fiber optic design engineer school next week because I'm already a network design engineer. So I realized we needed this for leverage. So I'm taking it out of my own pocket and flying myself to Colorado for a week and going and getting overly ramped up so that we can work directly with the contractors and know exactly what they're doing. And
You gonna join a sorority, Mary Kay?
I know, I think I should, right?
I think you should. It's a week, you know, just have a great time afterwards.
Oh, I'm totally going down to the Garden of the Gods, I think, in Colorado Springs. I haven't been there, and they've got a really nice park. So I think it's going to be snowing in Rocky National Park. So I don't think I'm going there on Monday. I think I'm going to stay down in the Springs.
Let's keep moving.
Yes, sorry.
Let me just say one last thing. Downside of it is, if we're a small area, and sometimes it's hard to get 2 or 3 to do it because there's just not enough financial incentive for them. But if we don't get that, then we revert to the other. I mean, we're starting in a good place and we just go backwards if we have to.
Okay. Let's get to Emily, you good, or do we need Sean for this next step here?
Nope, we should be good.
Okay, cool. I don't know what to say, or what do I need to do? Do I need to hand this off to Mary
Yes,
Kay?
you should announce your, you want to announce your?
Yeah,
really-
I handed over my official resignation to Sean and Emily today as chairman of the board and a representative of Enosburg and Village of Enosburg Falls, and effective immediately, which I need to turn over board responsibilities to Mary Kay.
Next up on the agenda will be the election of the new chair.
Okay.
Correct.
So basically, guys, what I need you to do right now is I'm going to ask for nominations to replace as the chair of the Northwest CUD. I am the vice chair. I do not wish to be the chair, just so that we're clear. But anybody who's interested or would like to nominate somebody who they think should be.
Word on the street is that Everett McGinley would consider this position. If that is true, then I nominate Everett. If it's not, then I withdraw it and I'll spare him saying no.
And if it's true, I'll second it.
I would be honored.
Well then,
Are there any other nominations of somebody you would like to take on to the chair? Would you like to know what the responsibilities are? I mean, Sean can give you a feel, but
Sean and I have
Mike.
had fairly extensive discussions.
I know you have, my friend. Anyone else have questions? Nominations?
My granddaughter Maya just said she wants to run.
Right on.
As the
Okay.
newbie, can I learn a little bit about Everett?
Yes.
Sure.
Thanks.
I am a retired technology executive and entrepreneur. I have been the CEO of 3 different technology companies, including one which built fiber optic networks for industrial plants. I am a member of the board of Cold Hall to Canada, a local nonprofit organization that conserves land. I'm also the treasurer of that organization. Yeah, I've been involved in telecommunications for actually a fair part of my career. I developed semiconductors for transmission and detection and optical fiber networks and things like that. So I have some at least adjacent technical expertise.
Thanks, Everett.
Any other nominations? Okay, then I'd like to have a motion for voting.
Mary Kay,
For-
point of order. Mary Kay, I think you might need a point of order. I think you guys will need to accept my resignation before. appointing
Oh,
Everett.
crap.
Oh,
Yes.
You're right, sorry.
All right. So how do we do that? Do we have to just vote or accept? How do we do that?
I'll move that we accept his resignation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed? You have been resigned, my friend.
Out of here, Sean. Bye.
All right, now I'd like to make a motion for the nominations that we had for the chair. So all those in favor for
You
voting,
should,
do I have to
Mary-
add motion first?
you should motion to close, have someone motion to close nominations and then motion to elect.
Okay. Stu is motioning with his thumbs up. Is that what you're saying, Stu? Somebody's gonna motion.
Yeah.
It can't be Everett.
That's all
Oh, I'm
second.
not doing it.
No, I can't vote on this.
No. And JR just seconded it.
So that was to close nominations.
Nominations are closed, so now I need a motion to vote for the Northwest Chair.
Do we have to
CUD as
vote
Everett.
on the nomination that
Yeah,
was
because
just
somebody may say
seconded?
no. We may yes or
I
no.
move to nominate Everett McGinley for chair of the Northwest CUD.
And I
A
second it.
second.
Excellent. Mary Catherine second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Welcome aboard, Everett. I'm glad to have you at the helm.
Thank you.
I hate Roger's rules. Everybody knows this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm an engineer. Thank you for walking me through it all. I appreciate it.
Everett, not to throw a meeting agenda item in the middle of a meeting, but we just got the MOU from NRPC. So if we could add that to the agenda at the end, actually.
Oh, and also Everett, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, that's happy to help. So let me see, I'm pulling up the existing agenda. So I think we've gotten through most of the agenda at this point. We have subcommittee updates, member updates, other business, public comment yet to go, but we're going to add the MOU. So let's discuss that now. Can you bring that up on your share that,
Yes.
Emily?
Yes, let me bring that up for you. Draft MOU, email, here's the actual document. Right. So here is the draft memorandum of understanding that would be signed between NRPC and NWCD in order to be essentially a bridge for the CUD to hire an executive director in a temporary way so that the CUD can then spend some time getting everything up and running to become their own employer. The NRPC board is looking for this to be reviewed by a lawyer prior to signing, and they're requesting that the NWCUD would reimburse their legal fees for having a lawyer review this document.
All right, so we can't take action on this document at this time because it's not final. I at least did take the opportunity to review it while we were speaking. It's got a 6-month period. There's a 10% overhead charge, which I think is quite reasonable. And it's cancelable within 30 days, notice by either party. And it provides for all of the necessary employment machinery, so payroll and benefits and things like that. And in my sense, it's the quickest path to implementing an employment relationship with Sean. So for that reason, I'm very much in favor of it. But I don't think we can vote to accept it at this point, in as much as it's not final. So you'll have to have attorneys review it. But I think that we should hold a special meeting as soon as it is in final form so that we can move quickly on this.
I think it would be helpful at this meeting to at least consider a motion of whether you are the request of the NRPC board to have to reimburse their legal expenses for reviewing this document.
Yes, that we can do, certainly. So I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment of NRPC's legal expenses.
One quick question first. Is there any, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is there any provision beyond 6 months and there's some sort of monkey wrench, something happens, we still need to make sure that the executive director gets paid beyond 6 months? Is there any exception or clause for extending this beyond if we need to?
By mutual agreement, it can be extended.
Okay, sorry, I didn't read all the language. I was just making sure there's some sort of provision in case we need to keep the relationship longer.
Yeah, that'll be in the legal docs. That's a great question, but that's usually in there. That's really important.
So based on that, I'd be willing to make a motion to, I move to accept the legal fees for the NRPC to review this.
I second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? We've approved that.
Hey,
All right,
Mary Kay, take lessons from Everett.
I don't need to, man. That's why he's the chair. I'm your engineer. Just let me be
Right
the
on.
worker bee. That's my
Right
name,
on.
worker bee.
Right on.
Let me build your network. Let me build your network.
Done this before.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
So I think that, Emily, is there anything else regarding this NRPC item?
No, I don't think, I mean, you could decide to pre-authorize signing the MOU. That would be up to you. And to avoid potentially having to have another meeting.
That's a great idea.
That's a very good idea. I think if everyone's comfortable with that, someone could make a motion to authorize the chair to execute the MOU, provided that it is substantially in the form as presented.
I motion. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. That's good. Now we don't need a special meeting.
Excellent.
Nice-
Thank you, Emily.
Nice job, Emily. Really nice.
Emily for the score. She gets cookies. That's what I always tell the engineers when they do something well. I go, you get cookies.
about some-
Anything else, Emily?
No, I don't think on the MOU that will, once signed,
All right.
enable the CUD
Um,
board with formal.
Are there any subcommittee updates? I'm not sure that the subcommittees have met since our last meeting, but let's go around. First of all, the Communications Subcommittee.
No update, but pending the onboarding of the executive director, I would like to have that meeting and pick up stuff that's on our plate as soon as possible.
Certainly. The PMO.
I guess I'm here and nobody else. Well, I have been busy. The PMO as a team has not, but I can give you a quick update. Vetro Fiber Map.
What does
We
PMO stand for?
Project Management Operations.
Thank you.
So Vetro Fiber Map, I did meet with them. What we're doing is looking for different possible vendors that are going to give us kind of an all-inclusive thing with all our needs that we're going to need to be able to manage the network to deploy it, but also to do our funding, our cost analysis, our reporting. And so looking at things besides just GIS. So that I did already meet with, going to be meeting with Sean again down in the future, and with them again to follow up, but very impressive. Like, you know, some of my goals were when I had met with their team was less time reporting, more time in the field. So that's, as anybody knows, as an operations manager, you need more time in the field, less time reporting. So these things, when I got to do cost analysis or tear outs or things I would send out to a fiber team, like here's where you got to lay out in your specs, it came so quick. I almost cried. So there's a lot of things, overlay, underlays. It allows us to do other things, surveys, and having a portal so people can put their address and what they're looking for service, places where we can go out and do different things as well to help bring in net subscribers as well. So that's basically, I've been doing different things like that as well, and getting ready for the make ready stuff and applications and learning what's going to be expected of us and what we can do to get for a contractor to do the make ready work and work with our utility companies, which I've been working with Sean in meetings as well. That's about it.
Great, thank you. Finance Committee?
But we're really looking forward to meeting with our new executive director and getting direction from the where we need to be going.
Yeah, it's gonna be very colorful.
What's that?
All right, I think that takes care of the subcommittee updates. Do we have member updates? So these would be the individual communities. Rather than to do a roll call, because I think there probably aren't many of these updates. If you do have a specific update from your community, just go ahead and let us know.
Just that I started last week.
Which is
And
great.
I'm the Fairfield town administrator, and I'm excited. It's a good place to be.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
I have a question for Sean. Let's see. I don't think, is it correct that you will not be able to be the representative from Enosburg and Enosburg Falls going forward?
Correct.
Okay, so we will need to find a new representative from one of our core communities.
My understanding is that the village has found, they had found a replacement a week or two ago. Anyway,
Sean, there can be no replacement for you. Let's just be clear.
A fill-in,
Yeah.
and then the town is notified that they as well will need to find a fill-in.
Yeah. A poor second imitation, if you will. All right, so you're working on that. Are there any other community updates?
This is Amber from the town of Georgia. I just wanted to let you know that the last time the select board met, that they determined that they will not fill the primary CUD seat until they reappoint a new board member. So you've got another 4 weeks before that. So any meetings between now and then, you'll see me, but in the interim, we're down a person. Once again, our select board has a lot of turnover these days.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on, Amber.
Hey, not a problem.
Thank you. Any other community updates, member updates?
This is Sean from Regional Planning. For the new members, I'll just add that Emily and I don't vote. We're not technically board members. So that's why we're not voting, and we haven't voted on anything. The other bit of news I have is that Sean and I are scheduled to be on the Swanton Town and Swanton Village agendas, the trustees and the selectmen agendas this month. And then I just found out today, St. Albans Town agenda, the first thing in November. So that's good
Yay.
news.
That's
We may be
excellent.
bringing in some more towns.
Excellent news.
Yep, that's great. Thank you. Any other community updates?
Did
Any
also-
other?
Everett,
Go ahead.
I'll just add one more thing too about the membership for the region is prior to this meeting, I was at the executive committee meeting dealing with talking to the MOU and answering any questions our executive committee had about what's been going on with the CUD lately. And we did have some folks from the islands who are representatives, and they're gonna, we told them what towns are lacking in the islands. And so they're gonna try to do some, get some momentum going in the islands to get.
That would be most welcome. You know, having more potential subscribers makes our business plan more attractive and easier to implement. So that's critical, particularly if we can get St. Albans on board. Is there any other business? And do we have any members of the public who would care to make a comment or ask questions? Yes.
That's what I was going to point out. Did you notice how quickly he changed his moniker there?
Yeah, he was
His
pretty
title?
fast. It was a little too
That was
fast.
10 seconds, man. He already had it ready. He just clicked the button. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, it was quick. It's been a stressful couple weeks for me. I'm just saying, being the vice chair.
There's no, I don't have any more comments.
Did you have a particular comment, Sean?
No, I'm
Just being a pain in the ass.
yeah, as a newfound member of the public, I'm excited for any potential new role that I have in the CUD, and I'm excited for our progress to come. I think there's a lot to do, but I look forward to continuing to help and do what I can.
Yeah, and Sean, thank you for everything you've done so far. Seriously now.
Yeah, I think all of us owe you quite a debt of gratitude for the enormous amount of work you've done as a volunteer. And we wouldn't be where we are today, anywhere near where we are today, had it not been for your extraordinary amount of work that you got done. So thank you.
Agreed.
That is the end of
Welcome to
our
the general
agenda.
public now.
And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I beat you, Jake.
I'll second then. I'll get something.
All right,
in.
all right, all right.
Whoa.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice
Have a
evening,
great
everyone.
weekend.